failing at achieving your goals? Sick of not being able to stick to your plan? Can it trick your mind to beat procrastination and resist to the temptation to give up every time you start something new? Today, we are taking a deep dive into your mind. I'm revealing the top secrets of the mind that explain why this pattern arises in the first place and how to deal with it to smash your New Year's goals. Coming up. Welcome to another episode of my brand new series, The Mind. You are watching The Laza Show, your source of inspiration to unleash a tiger within you and finally build the life and business you love. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button so that you get notified every week when I post a new episode. So in the last episode, I explained why I believe that there is no such thing as free will and how at the same time, changing your life is still possible. So over the next few episodes of this series, we're going to discuss the limitations that your mind is facing. We're going to talk about what exactly is holding you back from achieving your goals, from sticking to your plan, from creating lasting change without backsliding all the time and having to start over and over again. So as I'm shooting this episode today, it's actually my birthday, and a couple of days ago I did some serious reflection on the things I have achieved the past year. And while I have created some remarkable change in my life, high five to myself, I also noted a backsliding lately. So the reason I decided to do this episode was first of all because I face procrastination quite often myself. And a lot of times I run out of motivation and I feel like quitting, and it's so difficult to control the urge and stay on track no matter what. But you know what? I'm sick of excuses and I'm tired of making one step forward and two steps back. You know, when all of a sudden you are super excited about something, you decided to change it, you put a lot of effort into it, and then you fail, and then you start over again, you stick to it for a period of time, and then you backslide again, and you are basically back to square one, so tired of trying again. We all face this type of situations in our lives, and I'm sure you have plenty of examples in your direct experience. A typical one is going on a diet on a Monday, and then by Wednesday you see a cake in front of you and you're like, well, if I have a slice, it's not going to be the end of the world. And then you end up saying, oh, you know what? I cheated now. Screw this. Let's enjoy the weekend and a fresh start from Monday. So anyway, I started to seriously considering what is the root of the problem, and I discovered a scientific explanation for this phenomenon, which is called homeostasis. Homeostasis is present in all living organisms and in all systems, including human mind and body. Homeostasis is basically the center point that a system is always gravitating towards to maintain a balance so that it survives. Your body, for example, is going to maintain through homeostasis the perfect internal temperature, no matter if you're exposed to hot or cold weather. If it falls below or rises above the optimum temperature, you get sick. Homeostasis also applies in more high-level changes that you are trying to make. Start exercising, changing your behavior in a relationship, losing weight, changing your habits, leaving your job and becoming an entrepreneur. Your subconscious mind is biased towards keeping you in the same place. It knows that what worked before will probably work in the future, and after all, if you're still alive, then it wants to maintain the same patterns that kept you alive in the past. It doesn't care if you're happy or not. It doesn't know if this new habit is going to make you live a more fulfilling life. All it cares about is survival. Something new, something unknown is risky. Therefore, it pulls you back into your comfort zone, and quite frankly, there can never be meaningful change without stepping into the dark, without trying something new. So really, when you decide to work towards something new, your mind will come up with all sorts of excuses to keep you from doing it. It will make you procrastinate, your emotions will pull you back to your central gravity point, your mind might even create physical pain to give you this excuse to not step outside of your comfort zone. Homeostasis will kick in and make sure it brings you back to where your set center point is, no matter if it's good or bad for you. Now, homeostasis might be vital for your survival, but it works against you when you're trying to make big changes in your life. However, there are some strategies that can help you get past this stage of giving up and procrastinating and really drive massive positive change. And half of the solution is recognizing the presence of homeostasis. So, well done, you're at the right track. To deal with something, you first need to be aware of it, and this is why I spend so much time explaining what is really happening in the background when you are giving up on your goals. But now, how do we deal with it? Secret number one is to be smart of how you approach changing your life. Stop trying to change everything at once in a few days, a few weeks, a few months. It is impossible. This is the number one mistake that I personally do. I wake up one day full of motivation and decide to change my life. I go to the gym, I clean my diet, I read, I meditate, and basically I start forming 4 or 5 habits at the same time. Huge mistake. Your system cannot accept much change at the same time, and you will quickly break down. So the starting point is to pick one major change that you want to make in your life and work until you master it. Don't underestimate really the effect that one change will have in your life. If you're into self-development, you might be thinking, well, I want to start exercising, I want to meditate, I want to start visualizing, eating healthy, reading, being more organized, and so on. No, this is too overwhelming. You must pick one, the most important one. And that brings me to secret number 2. You have got to identify exactly why you want to change. Get to the very deep reason of why you want this change. Write it down, and every time you feel like quitting, go back to this why, which will pump emotion into your body and will help you to stay on track. The secret here is that your subconscious communicates with emotions, which is what makes this step so super important. From my personal experience, every time I tried to achieve a goal and didn't follow the step, I always failed with no exception. So I truly believe that this is a must. Now the next secret is to plant in your mind the belief that you will commit to it 100%. Prepare to do anything that is required consistently, no matter what. If you commit to it 99%, it's not good enough. You have to take a definite decision that this is it, you are doing it. You will not start and see how it goes. You will start and do it by a certain date, end the story. Once you get to that point where you took a definite decision to make it a priority and commit to it 100%, you then have to make it as simple as possible so that you can follow through. And there are a couple of things that you can do about this. I will start with a strategy that I came across while discussing with an expert in the field, and it's called behavioral activation. Behavioral activation is primarily a therapeutic technique to treat mental health conditions, but it has some basic principles that are applicable in this case. More specifically, the expert psychologist said that he uses this technique to help his clients with learning disabilities to re-engage with skills that aren't enjoyable to them. Similarly, you can use this technique to get yourself to engage into the activities that you need to do as part of this change, but you find uncomfortable. He then went on and explained that what you basically do is breaking the activities down into their components, to their component parts, and you are then introducing them slowly. For example, someone who isn't going to the gym and all of a sudden they decide to start going 5 times a week, they might do it successfully for the first week. But they will soon fail because it is extremely difficult for your mind and body to jump into such a sudden change. Bottom line is that you need to start slow and then do incremental changes. Yes, 100% commit to it, but don't expect to introduce massive changes in your life from one day to the next. Also, you need to be smart about it. You've got to know when there is room to push yourself a little bit more and where you've got to be a little bit more gentle. You know what behavioral activation reminds me of? I don't know if you cook, but this reminds me of a bechamel sauce. Bechamel is one of the trickiest sauces you can make. You can't just take the cold milk and pour it into the pan with the flour because your bechamel will end up being very lumpy and you'll just put it in the bin. You need to be very gentle with it. You need to first heat up the milk, and after you combine the butter and the flour, you need to pour the milk very, very slowly, just a tiny bit every time, and then you stir it well, and then you give it time to absorb the milk, and then you add more milk, and you slowly increase the amount of milk, and boom! After a lot of stirring and effort and time, you've made the best bechamel in the world. Mwah! Success! I would say that another technique that could help you massively to stay committed to your goal is to schedule exactly when you need to do the activities that are required for that change. Make space in your calendar for them to make sure that they don't clash with any personal events and responsibilities. These will help you eliminate the excuses as much as possible and actually stick to the plan. Finally, I want you to visualize your goals. This is probably one of the core habits you want to build because it will literally help you develop more habits at the same time. If you want to know the scientific explanation of why visualization is so powerful and how to do it properly, then check out episode 2 of my series. I will put a link below in the description. Now you know all the mind secrets you need so that you can understand why you procrastinate, why you quit, and how to trick your mind to slowly create lasting change. And now I want to hear from you. Write below in the comments. How is homeostasis keeping you back from achieving your goals? And what are you going to do about it? Now that you know all these new secrets of how your mind works. If you want more advice on how to build the life and business you love, then definitely head over to antialazaro.com, my blog, where I share useful insights, tips and tricks to inspire you to become the best version of yourself and live your best life. If you like this episode, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe so that you never miss another episode. And obviously, share with someone you love and you want to help. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next episode.